the in-between, the ups and downs, the curves and the rounds. I'll bring it to your city or your hometown. I'll go back in time when the feeling was fine, when funkin' was legal and it wasn't a crime. Party people lined up and down the way, a bigger celebration than your birthday. Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt the fool cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. And I have seen the world pristine, funk you up in the bushes, funk you down in the trees. Now look around, all the frowns, the yellow, the white, the red and the brown. And keep in mind, it never costs a dime, cause funkin' is free, I remember the time. Now look today, the streets are gray, time to take it back to yesterday. Funkin' in the neighborhood, I felt the fool cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool cause the funkin' was good. It was good in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt full cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin'
Tell me
up
this
the
isn't a much better way to bring in intro.
Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt full cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt
This is a
full
much
cause
better
the
way to
funkin'
bring
was
it in.
good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
Is that it? We're good.
David, we're live.
I like it. And we're back.
Welcome to the Underdog Journey. I'm Wes. This guy's David. And between the two of us, we're funking up the neighborhood. And it's a little bit...
Funkin' up the neighborhood. That's from a band called the MFB. And I've kind of, been one of those people that's like, oh, here it is, and forward it, share it, like it, move on. Kind of doing that part of, my responsibility for helping people out.
Mhm.
And I don't know, but I was sitting yesterday or the day before, and I'm like, I'm looking for a type of music, and I didn't know exactly what I was wanting. And I was listening to the intro on a YouTube or something. I was like, it's a little funky. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. I know this guy talk about the funk all the time. So the guy in the video here, that's Funkle Sam.
Funkle Sam.
By the way, that's Funkle Sam.
That's
so
that's a name.
On that, and you guys know, the moment we come up with an idea, what do we have to do? We have to rush off to GoDaddy, right? Our favorite place to get domains.
Are you buying Funkle.com?
Well, I didn't buy FunkleSam.com, although I am going to check it now. FuncleSam.com. It's available, but I had to go into my stuff here because I bought funkforthepeople.com.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Which I thought was good. I'm like, that way, if MFB ever wants to say, hey, I want to have our own dedicated website, dude, I've got Funk for the People ready to go for you.
Yeah, so
and I'll probably grab Funkle Sam right now.
There you go. Hey, thank you, MFB, for letting us use your song as our new intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, we're actually going to phase out the old song and in favor of the new song. And you're actually working on another jingle yourself that we might be using.
Yeah. So we're trying to find something that. Let me get back over to the screen that makes sense to me here. We're trying to find something that, we're to use big thank yous to Funkle Sam, the MFB, for allowing us to use the music. But we're trying to use that as the countdown timer for you guys, and then launch into a actual intro video. And I put together a little jingle for it. I've sent it over to a recording studio, and let's see, I have the text message interaction here, which I believe happens to be a classic interaction. When if you text me, you understand this. So I sent him the clip of the audio. I said, need an intro with this at the core. And he goes, you want it just like that or rocked up a bit, drums, effects, and etc. I said, I want some crap, dude. I did not say crap. Some crap, dude. Make it all up like twang diddle diddle skeet up boom pow.
Now, how do you spell?
Literally typed out.
Yeah, I'm sure you typed out the whole thing.
Yes. So we're working on that in the background so that we have a dedicated intro kind of song for us. And again, and using the MFB as that's our new countdown, because I gotta tell you that song almost just puts us in a box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, totally. That was awesome. So Funkle Sam
I see a big glass of beer.
You do see a big glass
on your desk. Tell me about that.
So today I'm drinking Pumpkin from Southern Tier Brewing. This is a really good. They actually say here on the bottle, it's pumpkin pie in a glass, and they're not kidding. It is a really pumpkin-y beer, and it's not light either. This beer is 8.6% by volume. So I might just have the one glass tonight. But I understand you're only going to drink one can of beer tonight. So I've only got one can of beer tonight. What do you got?
That's it. I grabbed a can of Hofbrauhaus because it's my favorite. Rocking the shirt, Hofbrauhaus. This is from Columbus here, brew for you. But I only got one. It's their Oktoberfest in a can. Right there.
That's your one can of beer.
This is my one can of beer for the evening. So, we're going to keep it nice and easy, nice and light, not get anything out of control. But that proper size can there. I used to like the Fosters because of the size of the can, the oil can that they have.
Yeah.
But I think I might trade that out for in favor of this right here because why not?
So
there we have it. So if everybody who watched last week, they'll know that I did not have good luck opening beer. Every time I opened a beer, it was the Stella, and I opened it everywhere. So I even got to the point where I took a towel, put it on top of the towel, and the thing has been sitting on my table for 25, 30 minutes into our show. Pop that thing open and out it comes again. Son of a biscuit.
It's because every time you turned around.
That was fun.
It's because every time you turned around, your son came in and shook the bottle, and then put it back.
Well, I was down in Fort Lauderdale last week.
That's right. You were out of town last.
He was up here. He was up here in New York, so that was clear in that count. So I got my Hefeweizen glass tonight.
There you go.
The Oktoberfest out of. So that should go pretty well, and it does take a while to fill it. So if I was trying to drink a liter. I just have you. I'd be like, go ahead and carry on. I'll catch up with you when this thing's empty.
That's a serious can. They got to start selling that in 6-packs.
Yes, yeah, a 6-pack of that would go a long way. In fact,
It's basically a
So
keg.
just to let everybody know, that is 5 liters, 1.32 gallons
That's a lot
of
of beer.
delicious beer.
Delicious, delicious Hofbrau.
There it is.
That's a nice
Hofbrau
beer.
House. That's a good beer. So we're going to set that aside right there. We'll definitely be going back to that one later.
Yep.
So I get going there. I think this week we're going to talk a quick intro, quick business news, finish up this freaking roadmap.
We're so close. We're so close. But before that, David, tell us what Disney's up to. What's going on with Disney?
Disney. So that was, our topic from last week. Disney changing from a family vacation to a luxury destination. And we talked about they're staggering the way they opened their place back up after the global plague sniffles of death, what they did, how they tiered, the importance of bringing what demographic back in. Well, clearly you want to make sure that you're bang for the buck, the return on the investment of opening a hotel and all these things. You want to get the best return on that. But they have blatantly showed that they're not interested on the lower side of it until the very end, until they can get those right. So, and then we talked about how they got rid of the Fast Pass system. They put in the Genie app. So it costs $15 per person per day to be on this. And then that doesn't even count all the rides. You can take one ride like Rise of Resistance, which is new at the Hollywood Studios there. That's $15 just for that ride.
Wow. Just for that one ride.
So family of 4.
Yeah.
Family of 4. You've already paid hundreds of dollars. So you've already paid close to $450 plus or minus, depending on your day. $450 to get in the park. Now you're going to be paying another $60
at least
to ride that one ride, and then $15 if you actually want to ride other rides as well. So another $60 for that. So the price to skyrocket, but not to be outdone by anybody who was not challenging them. Disney decided that single night stays were in the books for them.
Right.
So you can no longer book a single night stay. So if you were going down and you don't have a lot of time or a lot of the budget for it, you can't go down, stay one night, get to the park early, check in sometime in the afternoon, stay overnight, check out in the morning, and go off, go breakfast, come back, check out, and then go off to the parks again. You can't do that. You have to have a second night in order to book.
Right now, from a perspective, that makes sense though, because they know their rooms are in high demand, their parks in high demand, so they're immediately going to not admit people who only want to stay for one night. They're going to give those rooms to people who are going to stay for multiple nights, guaranteed, and they're going to make that money up. They're going to double from people who would just
absolutely.
So from a revenue perspective, it makes sense. However, traditionally, we talked about this last week, traditionally the parks weren't necessarily the revenue driver for Disney. It was more of a marketing and PR area of the business. But now, since the head of parks is now the head of Disney overall, we're starting to see that the perspective on how to run that section of the business has changed pretty dramatically.
Yeah, from Bob Iger to Bob Paycheck. I'm sorry, Chapek. It's a light switch. It's a light switch, and how the direction is. They've done nothing.
Yeah,
nothing. Everything they've done recently with Chapek at the helm has not worked out well in their favor. Has not given them good publicity. Has not given them greatest of returns, like how they handled some of the movies. Like they just settled a lawsuit.
Ooh, let's not talk about those movies. And that's
we're not going to talk about. We're just talking about business aspect.
Politics and bring, and that's
they scheduled
the movie. Even the movies. It's hard to even talk about the movies without getting dangerously close to politics.
Yeah. We're not talking politics. Weird. I'm just saying they settled this thing because of the business decisions they made. They said, well, we can do this. We're almost guaranteed to get, or as close as you can get guaranteed in the world, to get X amount of dollars through this revenue, which we know we're going to cannibalize some of this. We're going to pull. And that backfired. That was a huge thing. Sometimes the damage you do to your brand. Actually, this is not sometimes. You have to weigh the damage you do to your brand versus the revenue you're going to get. So yes, you may have actually made more money doing this over here if you put it in a vacuum and look at only that scenario.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And
but that's not the way the world works.
The lawsuit you're talking about is Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up, but
Well, and we can talk about it without getting political, I guess, in this case, because basically, for those who don't know,
yeah.
Scarlett Johansson was guaranteed a fraction, a cut of the theater
Percentage.
revenue, of the theater revenue,
Yeah, the box office, of the
the
box office revenue.
box office revenue. However, Disney released simultaneously on not simultaneously. Was it
Disney Plus.
simultaneously or shortly after on streaming?
Simultaneous.
It was simultaneously. Okay, on streaming and box office. So the people who didn't go to the theater, they actually stayed home and just downloaded it or streamed it on Disney Plus. She didn't get a cut of that because that's not box office, right? So she sued for that difference because she was contractually owed box office revenue. And Disney, I'm positive, Disney knew this was coming very early on in this decision. However, they did the math, and the amount that they would have made on streaming versus the amount they had to pay her out, that was the difference. They were actually going to make more streaming than they would have had to pay her out in this lawsuit, and they knew it very early on. So they took the gamble, and that's how it worked out.
Yep, and that's the thing is you have to make that decision even in your own businesses, all of you all in your own businesses, of how much your reputation, how much your core is your value. So if you are, let's say you sell tennis shoes, okay? You sell tennis shoes and you sell tennis shoes to, I'm going to pick something that's not political based. I'm just trying to think of a big group that would buy a lot of tennis shoes. Nurses. Tennis shoes are very important to nurses. So your target market is nurses.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do something that while, yeah, it makes a profit, it damages your core and you start seeing the decline. Now, if you look at your single business move, again, in a vacuum, all else being equal, they love to say, yeah, it may look like that was a good business decision. But when you look at the whole, it will come out and show you that the damage you did to your core is not worth what you gained by this one-off over here.
Right. And,
anyway at all.
It basically comes down to the difference between long-term strategy and short-term gains. Which is more important? I'd much rather have long-term growth and long-term development rather than very short-term gains.
And you'll get a lot more raving fans.
Right. If somebody gave you $100 today versus saying, you know what, I'll put this in an account for you that's guaranteed to make X amount of money over time. And you can pull it out. And you see this with all kinds of investments right now. Are you going to take the $100 now, or would you rather have it 10 years down the road when it's worth $10,000? I mean,
I guess it all depends on your current situation. I mean, some people $100 now could save them.
And that's it, right? It comes down to your current situation. It comes down to your perspective. Disney owns the world. They own essentially everything. Do you think they need the short-term gains rather than the long-term growth? Look,
all depends on what we marked a decided change in their avatar. I know you guys are getting sick and tired of us saying avatar, but there is a marked decided change in their avatar from where they were and where they are.
Now, but when I was asking that question, though, I wasn't necessarily saying one way's right, one way's wrong, because we also don't know the behind-the-scenes conversations with, say, their board of directors. Maybe their board, maybe their investors want the short-term gains to make up for losses elsewhere. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of things that we just don't know. But these are some really marked changes in their overall strategy with the parks, at least.
Yeah. So that's our 2 week in a row talk about Disney. Hopefully they don't do anything this coming week that stirs us up or stirs me up again and says, hey, what the frig are they doing over there? Because I mean, anybody who knows me and my family, I spend a ton of freaking money at Disney.
You guys spend a lot of money at Disney. This is true.
Yeah, we'll be there next month. And we're going to be there on Wednesday night. So I will be casting live from Disney at some point
next
down there. Even if I don't have my, on my my Mac or shenanigans. My Windows machine. I just click a little button there, and I can bring up the calendar.
Well, you know your problem.
November 14th. So
Okay.
November 14th. So next month. So on the 17th, November 17th, next month, I will be doing the cast live now from Disney. Now, how that's going to look, I don't know. It literally might be me taking the phone, because it is a pretty good phone, quick thing, and doing the cast from some quiet corner, depending on what we're doing and where we're at. So
Well, we'll see how it goes.
yeah. So it'll be a fun time. We'll have a blast no matter what. And I might just do the cast walking around Disney like this.
That would be hilarious. That'd be funny.
It'll be good.
I don't want to get you in
Be
trouble
good
with your wife though, so we'll talk about it. We'll see.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. She's all cool with that. She got no problem at all.
I demand you do the whole stream from It's a Small World ride.
I'm going to actually shut that down right now.
You're gonna spend an hour on It's a Small World.
Yes. Can you just let me keep going through? Just let me ride. Just keep it going.
I'm in the middle of something.
So
See? Yeah.
Yeah, I got stuff to do here. So that's a nice, interesting thing here. We're at 25 minutes past the hour. We've gotten through a new intro video. Thank you again to MFB.
Absolutely.
And Funkin' Up Your Neighborhood.
Funkin' Up.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, don't get us singing here. That's not what you want. That's not why you come to this channel.
Nope.
I'm not really sure why you come to this channel, but
we're grateful.
It is what it is.
We're grateful that you do. So, in other news, there's something that's kind of been brewing for a while. A lot of you may have heard of this. Something called the Great Resignation, right? And this,
wait, what are we talking about? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is something they've been talking about since mid 2020. The idea that just huge, massive numbers of people are going to start quitting their jobs just out of nowhere, like really good jobs just out of nowhere, and a lot of people who have a traditional sense of a work-life balance and work ethics, I guess, would say that's insane. They'd say, why would so many people quit their jobs? It doesn't make any sense. It's not a real thing. That's not going to happen. However, I want to share this with you guys. Make sure I'm showing the correct data here.
Okay.
So there's a report that comes out called the JOLTS report. And this is the August JOLTS report. JOLTS stands for Job Openings and Labor Turnover. This is from August 2021. There was a record number of people who quit their jobs in August of 2021. We actually see in this report from CNBC. Look, say what you want about CNBC. This is actually a pretty good article here. 4.3 million workers quit their jobs in August alone. That's insane. And the majority of these workers were in, as you'd expect, restaurants, bars, the labor area. Kind of one of the ideas of what might have happened is, look, for better or worse, people got spoiled over 2020. When people were being paid to stay at home, they got used to not being micromanaged. They got used to kind of a little bit better treatment throughout their day. And it's hard to go back to the way it was. So what's happening, even though a lot of governments aren't paying people to stay home and watch Netflix anymore, say what you want about that whole situation, in a lot of cases that doesn't exist anymore. Yet people are still quitting their jobs at record numbers. Why is that? The main reason is people think they can do better. And that's just what it comes down to. And they're right. People can do better. Statistically, for every one American who's unemployed right now, there are 1.2 jobs available. There are more jobs available than there are unemployed Americans right now. And what's happening is more people are understanding that they can do better. And since so many companies are in dire need of employees, as we're seeing with the labor shortage right now. Have you tried going to a bar or restaurant telling anywhere? It's crazy.
It's crazy.
What's happening is kind of actually a good thing. It's telling these companies they need to not only treat their employees a little better, maybe give them a little more autonomy, maybe a little less micromanagement, but also maybe a little better benefits, maybe a little better pay per hour. And again, say what you want about all of that. For the worker, in the end, it's good. Now, here's the flip side of that. Economists are also saying this is starting to lead to one of the causes that's starting to lead to inflation in the economy right now. Why is that? Not only because companies are paying more to new employees to bring them in. When you go into a new job, it doesn't matter what it is. Even if you have experience in that industry, that company still has to train you for a period of time. That training period costs money. They need to give you certain tools to do your job. That costs money. When you come into a company, it's not a net gain for you and the company just makes out scot-free. There's actually money involved in training you and bringing you up to speed to actually do that.
Major investment.
And the company, look, companies aren't charities. Most companies are not charities. They're not here to give their money away. They're still going to make the money on the back end. So what do? They pass those expenses.
We don't need to practice.
They pass those expenses on to the customer. And what do you call that when the same product costs more over time? That's inflation. That's what happens. And when you see that across an entire economy, across an entire country's economy, in every stage of the process, that leads to an inflation over time. And so while it's actually better for the worker, it is leading to inflation. However, eventually it has to balance out. Eventually there has to be a tipping point, because when the more people who quit their jobs to find something better, what does that also do? That leads to a saturation, an oversaturation of the hiring market as well. Because if 100 people if 100 people quit their jobs and they're very specialized and there are only 90 positions available, guess what? Those 100 people at a certain point are going to have to compete against each other for those 90 jobs. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that right?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And one of the things you have to look at as well is it's going to invert your value at some point. So basically what we're getting around to is, let's say you're a $20 an hour employee. You cost about $46 an hour for the employer. Some a little more, some a little less. Average is going to be around $46 an hour for that person. I know some of you guys are like, oh, I don't see that $46. No, you don't. There's a lot of stuff that goes in the back end of that you're not going to see. But when you have those 100 people that are after those 90 jobs, do you think you're coming in at the $20 an hour person? No, you're now competing against that. Right. So that's what we call the race to the bottom. Now, the cost of stuff is already inflated. The cost of stuff you've already pushed because of the actions you're doing now. You've already pushed the price of the stuff up because of that. It sounds good. It's the short-term game versus the long-term game that we've talked about a little bit ago. And now that you've went in and you left the $20 an hour job, that's no longer good enough for you, and you've set off the bench, and those 90 jobs, well, 10 of them were filled with people who now make $40 an hour. Again, it's probably $72 thereabouts per hour per person on that rate. But now everybody's going, oh, I need to go. So we've taken 10 of those jobs away. So now we're down to 80 jobs, and we have 90 people to fill those jobs. Well, the people who making the $40 an hour or $30 an hour, whatever numbers they are, those people, that job is no longer safe.
Right.
You are now overpriced for your position because somebody can come in and replace you quickly. Eventually
that tipping point takes over. It's a balancing act. And that's true with the entire economy. It's all a balancing act. And right now there are some serious shifts going on. So while it's really good right now over here and a little poor over here, it's all going to shift out. And me just doing that could really make a weird GIF. And I can get into that. But here's kind of what it breaks down to. If you're in a position where you're kind of being micromanaged. You're not really happy in your career. You could quit right now. You could be part of this massive shift happening, and you could find something better. You could easily find something better if you apply yourself. That's kind of always been true to a degree, but right now you're seeing a lot more people doing it. But here's an alternative point of view. With so many people quitting great jobs, and you already having your foot in the door because you're at the company with a potentially great company, now's actually a really good time, maybe not necessarily to leave that job to find something better. Maybe now's a great time for you to move up in that company and show that company your dedication and actually make a name for yourself rather than go someplace else. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that's the way to go. I'm just saying it's another perspective. Because, again, somebody else could come in and take that job from you. You might be able to go find something better. But, look, you have your foot in the door. You know your company. You know your industry. That's why you're doing your job. Why not use that experience to grow within your own organization and with the company you're currently with to develop your career even further? So that way, when you do eventually leave, you'll be that much further ahead. Just different perspective. Here's a story from LinkedIn, LinkedIn News. So let's see if I can get up on the screen here. Here's a story from LinkedIn. So it's called "I Quit My Dream Job." Let's see. We work so hard to achieve our goals, but sometimes making it isn't all it's cracked up to be. After 15 years working his dream job, copywriter Brian Moore quit. In a recent post on LinkedIn, Moore said his job was beginning to take a toll on his mental health. Although he felt like he was abandoning his colleagues, Moore said he decided to leave when he received an offer from another company. His lesson learned: no job is worth your mental health. And that's part of it too. Look, like I started out with, 2020 kind of spoiled us. It kind of taught us, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't mean spoiled in a bad way. But it taught us that maybe being micromanaged isn't such a great thing. Maybe our current situation, our current career, isn't necessarily our dream job. But at the same time, it could be. If you thought it was your dream job once, what changed? Maybe you can make it what you want it to be. And that's true with any situation. So, before you leave your day job, think about it. And before you stay with your day job too long, think about it. Maybe you could do better someplace else. But maybe you could take this time, this opportunity, to grow within your organization when they're desperately hoping that you don't leave. Maybe they're actually willing to pay you more to stay where you're at, or to move up and train other people underneath you. And David is tapping his one can of beer for the evening. He's hard at work.
Yeah.
One heck of a can of beer.
Just in case the people in Rio Linda didn't see it when we launched. There's my can of beer for tonight.
That is a heck of a can of beer.
That was at Costco. $20 at Costco. I mean, you can't beat it.
Right? That's all.
5 liters of beer for $20. Now, I will tell you, and not to tick off any Germans out there that watch this show, because I know we're huge in Germany.
Very big.
But
true.
Yeah, freaking huge in Germany. So don't get ticked off and don't go invading Poland over this. But the fresh Hofbrau beer is better.
I don't think our German friends like that reference. Let's stay away from it.
I'm just saying they got a little rambunctious on their holiday in Poland there back in the I'm just going to ballpark it early 40s, somewhere in that area.
Nope. Nope.
Nope. So yeah, the good news is we know the Germans very well, all of them. Oh, they're all good friends of mine. And they have great senses of humor. So
they're known for their sense of humor. This is true.
They're really known. They're really known. It's worldwide. I just flew here from Germany. Man, my arms are tired. That was actually
the German language. And that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about the German language is even when they sound happy, it sounds so angry. I've had friends from Germany, and occasionally I'll stop and are you mad at me? Why are you yelling at me? No, this is what they sound like. Okay, well, stop yelling at me.
I
can't
see
do the
somebody
Drew,
put some
but
stuff on the screen. Hey guys, if you're out there watching the show, drop a note in here. Say hello. Because if we don't see you guys there, unfortunately, Facebook changed the world and they no longer allow us to see who's out there in TV land
Facebook
watching. So,
stuff. So leave a
yeah, so
comment,
definitely
like,
change
follow,
that up.
subscribe, leave the thumbs up. Don't smash any buttons. Don't abuse the platform.
Don't abuse
Uh,
don't abuse your phone or your laptop or if you're 87 desktop. I mean, don't do that. Just little click of a button, little click of a mouse, all it needs, and you're good. So, roadmap.
So
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're going to get through the roadmap today.
We will get to it, by golly. So, here's what we're talking about again: the roadmap. So, we started talking about the business ideation. There's a lot that goes into business ideation, more than just the idea of the business. Oh, get a little lag there. There we go. So there's the name, there's the logo, the voice, so much involved, and this whole roadmap you can download. So in our about section on Facebook, it leads you to a web page where you can download all of our content that we provide, including the business roadmap. So after business ideation, we talk about creating a. Oh, here we go. We talk about defining the brand. And then we talk about creating a web presence, which is more than just building a website. There's a lot more that goes into it. Followed by product development. I don't think we got to this last week. Product development. So here's the thing. It can actually get a lot more complicated than you think, right? So one of the things that we're doing here at Underdog is Underdog Bones. So Underdog Plus is my company that I'm making, that we are going to sell dog treats. And the first product is a peanut butter and brewer's grain based dog treat. Now you'd think, look, you make those in your kitchen, simple enough. Make them up, bake them up, sell them, you're out the door, you're good to go. However, there's a lot more that goes into it. Not only do you have to do product research, you need to find out what competition might be out there. You need to find out if there are any ingredients that you should or should not use, because dogs' diets are significantly different from people's. There could be allergy concerns, any number of different things. You need to create all kinds of samples to hand out to people, see what they think, see what their pets think. And this is true with any product that you're going to make, whether it's you have a brand new tripod that you want, you're going to start a brewery. Product development, no matter what your product is, can be very, very time intensive and can get expensive if you don't plan it out properly. So that also includes things like prototyping. Look, let's say you have a new phone cover, new phone case that you want. You got to prototype this thing out. Now, that can get expensive, which is why David and I talked about this earlier. Look, I put this under manufacturing because, in my view, what if you want a prototype, but at the same time, you don't want to pay somebody twice to create a physical copy of this thing? So you find a good manufacturer, you say, can you prototype this up? So prototype for a cost, and then if you like it without any changes, they can put it into full manufacturing. That's the reason I put it there. However, there's a number of different ways you can do this. David, you were talking about this last night, where you would put prototyping first, where you want to make a version of this just to test out first.
Yeah. This is, really the only highlight on this is just because it's a certain way in the roadmap that you're going to get. Yeah. As you build your roadmap, you're going to fill your way through it. You're going to say, oh, I would do it this way. I'd like to do it this way. I like this. I didn't think about doing that. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason for them to do this? All right. 1-800-COLLECT. Can I talk with West? And we're going to talk to you guys and say, well, this is what our thoughts are behind it. Here's a couple ways of thinking about it. It could be beneficial to you. And off you go. So just because it's on here in a certain order, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it in that order. This is just a roadmap for you to take a look at and be able to say, all right, these are some things I need to be cognizant of.
Right, and you can shuffle these things around. You can add and remove any of these fields that you need, because There are things. So I use a version of this for my own product development for Underdog Plus, our dog bones that we're selling, and I have a lot of things in there that I didn't include here because, look, if you have a physical product, no matter what that product is, chances are it's not going to have the same requirements as dog treats or food or paint for pumpkins. So you're going to need to add and remove things and shuffle things around as you need. So, but we have all the basics in here. Customer testing is huge.
Just as a thought,
yes,
I know a company that it's a small business and they make lamps out of bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Out of bottles. Now this is this don't make it out of this yet. Still got booze in it.
Yeah, you get
But they make lamps out of it. And I need come up here, have a cigar, drink some scotch, and we'll get through this thing in a night. We won't be worth anything the next day, but we'll get through it in one night.
Yeah.
But anyway, they make these lamps there. And if you guys take a look at your power supply, the back of your computer, back of your TV, back of almost anything in your house, you're going to see a little sticker on it, white sticker that has a circle on it. Inside that circle says UL. And there's UL listings is what that stands for, is UL's testing laboratories.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be like with you had to go through the FDA with lab testing for your product to get approval to sell, and you have to do that in every single state.
Yeah.
UL, very, very similar for other products. Almost any product that you want, you're going to have some kind of a certification for, and that's why it's in here. Is this a good foundation for you guys to take a look at and say, oh, these are some things, maybe not everything, and maybe some things in here that you don't necessarily need, but a pretty good general idea, a good roadmap for you guys to base it off of.
Right. Another one that you definitely don't want to forget about under product development is customer testing. Do not forget about customer testing.
Yes.
Not only because the customers are going to give you your best criticism. You want criticism. You want people to poke holes in every part of your product. There's one annoyance that...
Do not customer test with your mom.
Do not customer...
She's going to love it no matter what.
Yes, because look, your mom said you were cool in 8th grade when you knew everybody hated you because you were weird looking and
you sucked
and had fake pants.
Yeah, and you had red hair.
It still hurts a little bit. Still hurts a little bit. But Mom, thank you. I love you, even though you leave frowny faces on my videos. Maybe ask your current wife.
Yeah.
She might be brutally honest. My current wife is. We'll see. I don't know. Don't ask your mom though. You're right. Good point. But customer testing. Yeah. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm creating hundreds of samples that I'm going to place.
Wait. West. Had a thought.
I'm all ears.
When you're customer testing, how do you know what customers you should be testing on?
Oh, that might be a little something called your customer avatar. The customer profile.
Your customer
we've been talking
avatar.
about for the last 67 episodes.
It has made an appearance in almost every episode.
Yes.
And it's very important that you understand that is you need to keep that avatar, that ideal customer at the front and center. Right. Yes, you may be able to pull some business over here. You may be able to pull some business over there. But if you focus right here, you're not going to get a customer. You're going to build raving fans.
Right. Like I'm making hundreds of samples. I'm going to put all over town. However, I'm not going to put samples in places where I know that my ideal customer won't go. I'm going to put them in places where they might be. Again, these treats are made from brewer's grains. So where am I going to go? Dog-friendly brew pubs.
Brew pubs. Yeah.
Places like that. That again, dog-friendly, right there, and
veterinarian clinics
serve beer. Maybe vet places just for the PR. However, one of the things that we do is 20% of all profits go to pet rescues and rescue organizations. Yeah. So one of the things I was going to do is give a ton of samples to some local rescues and say, look, just give these to the dogs. If you say something on your social media, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. Chances are, at least some of them will say something on social media. I'm also going to give a lot of prepackaged ones to these rescues. So that way when, and with the instructions, look, if you're feeling up to it, put this in a little gift bag that you give people who adopt your dogs. And people who just adopted a new dog, guess what? They have a sample of my treats right there. because I know they like rescue dogs. I know they like the idea of rescue dogs, and anything that helps that mission that they are probably passionate about. Guess what? I have an in right there. So in 90% of cases, it's not going to be fruitful. The 10% of cases where it is fruitful, that's where your money is. And again, this is not about the money. It's about doing the right thing. However, you can't have one without the other necessarily. It's just a simple fact.
Right.
So
There's a saying I have, and I've had for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the practice. I don't need to practice. I get paid for what I do. I get paid well for what I do, and I expect to be paid very well for what I do. It's as simple as that. I don't need to practice.
Well, the thing is, I can't remember. So I was just reading something the other day that was talking about, and I can't remember who said it or where it came from, but it was talking about good business isn't about doing good. Doing good is reliant on good business, right? So here's the thing. People say, why can't you give more than, so you're only giving 20% to rescues. Why don't you give, 80% to rescues and you keep the 20% for yourself? Here's what people don't understand. That 80% of the profits, that's not going in my pocket. That's not going to buy me a new car. That's not going to pay for my kids' college. That 80% of the profits that's left goes directly back into the business. So that way that 20% that's given can grow bigger, faster, right? And the more that 80% grows, the more that 20% grows, the more that can actually be given back.
And the people who don't understand that are not the demographic. They are not the avatar of this channel.
Correct. Absolutely. It's a simple matter.
So if I offend you because I called you out for that, guess what? You're not our avatar. Our avatar is for the people who grasp these concepts and can look at something and go, all right, yes, I gave 20% of $100. So that's $20. It's pretty easy math there.
Mm-hmm.
$80 of that money went back into the business to grow, so that next month I can give, $40, and then the month after that I can give $47, and the month after that I can give $100.
Right.
Because it's just building and building and building and building it. Everything is feeding back into the company. That way, at some point, the Underdog Plus could be kicking out, $10,000 a month to local area dog rescue,
and that's what it comes
and then
to.
Spur more and more stuff throughout the country, and have the Boondock Saints, one in every major city.
There you go. Absolutely. So that's what it comes down to. So other people have said, why don't you start a charity? Why don't you just make it a 501c3? Because here's the thing. When you start a 501, that's a different conversation. Look, a 501c3 isn't going to produce the revenue necessary to be able to give as much as a business. Why do you think business donations are significantly larger than charitable givings from 501c3s?
Yeah.
It's the math isn't even comparable. Well, that's actually
there are incentives for the business to do it from a tax perspective, plus just the macro of it allows it to do more. I mean, that's the whole idea behind the business, is to produce profits. So even if you were to take 0.5%, that's 0.5% of let's say your charitable, your 501c3 with no corporate donations, you got $100 this year.
Right.
Or you got 0.5% of a Fortune 50 company who had $20 billion in profits last year. Which do you want?
Right. Now,
nobody's going to give you 0.5%, but you get the understanding of the math behind it.
Right. So we should actually do a show on the differences between whether you want to start a business or a 501c3, because both have their place. You and I actually have a...
we have both.
Well, we don't have a 501c3 yet. We have a
we don't have the 501c3, but we got the not-for-profit corporation.
Not-for-profit that we're going to develop into a 501c3. That's a different venture. However, we will actually talk about the difference.
We're going to be talking about here in a little bit.
Yeah. So let's move on. The next thing you want to do is form a legal entity. This is big. This is a big thing. I did one of those last night. Yeah.
I started another company in Ohio last night.
That's hilarious. How many businesses do you own now, David?
I don't know, 5 or 6.
A few. So here's the thing. We won't necessarily go into the big differences between LLCs, S corps, C corps, DBAs. We're not going to go into that. But we will talk briefly, David, briefly. We'll keep it brief. You need to pay your taxes. When you start a business, when you sell a product, you need to pay your taxes. What does that involve? Forming a legal entity, whether that's a DBA. What is a DBA? A DBA is doing business as. What is an LLC? A limited liability corporation. There are big differences. You can Google them all. We're not going to tell you all the ins and outs. I'll tell you where the answer is. Go to GOOLE period COM, and then you can search for any of the answer that you need. But you need to pay your taxes, which means forming a legal entity. David, you got some feedback here. Oh, I lost your audio. You're muted. There you go.
I am muted. Okay, it's really easy to do, and I was sitting here raving that you misspelled Google. You said GOOLE. It's Ghoul.
Oh,
Ghoul.com.
Go to Ghoul, Goule.
So
G-O-O.
basically, he said be brief, so I'm gonna do this real quick.
Brief.
Here's the one type of business that you don't want. Under no circumstances should this be endorsed by any person.
A bar.
It's called
a restaurant.
A sole proprietorship.
You don't want a sole proprietorship. No.
You do not want a sole proprietorship. That leaves you completely wide open. All of your assets, your house, your car, your retirement, everything is now up for grabs if something goes wrong with your business.
When you sell a product or start a business without forming an actual legal entity, even a DBA, you're technically counted as a sole proprietor, meaning all of your private owned property can be held in account if you don't pay your taxes.
Held as liable.
If you're sued.
Not taxes. Not just for your taxes. Mm-hmm. If something goes wrong with your product too. If somebody sues you, they're not suing your company. They're suing you.
Let's say my dog treats. So my dog treats have peanut butter in them, right? My dog treats have peanut butter in them.
Yep.
And let's say I have a sole proprietorship and somebody buys my dog treats or even gets a free sample from a restaurant or a bar, and they have a terrible allergic reaction and heaven forbid they die. Guess what? Their surviving significant other could sue my pants off, and they could take everything I own if I were a sole proprietorship. If I were a sole proprietor. Now, forming a legal entity and doing it correctly can save you from that. It can keep you separate from that. There's a reason why a lot of really big, very famous people, I won't mention names, have filed for bankruptcy, yet they're still multi-millionaires.
Every person listening to this cast, every person not listening to this cast, who should be listening to the cast, you should have your name LLC as a company.
Yes.
You should buy
because the LLC stands for limited liability.
And get your EIN. You can get your federal tax ID number. You can get a state EIN, a tax ID number as well. So that it literally is a standalone person. And then you do all that you can through this business. Right. And then if something, forbid, goes woefully wrong, that business collapses on itself. Let's say you buy your house from you, but you buy your car and blah, 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 blah. You have a business. You have all these other little things over here. Then if something happens and it just falls in, well, that falls in. Guess what? Guess what didn't happen? Your house is not touchable.
Right.
This is big. Your credit rating is not touchable.
Right.
That's its whole other entity.
Your life savings. You've been saving for the last, 30, 40 years. Guess what? It's still yours.
I didn't do it here. But when I plan on refinancing when it's appropriate amount of time to do so, and when I refinance here, basically I'm going to be buying because I'm going to set up my name and we'll call it house.LLC, and the house we owned here. So literally, I'm going to compartmentalize my entire life so that literally, if one thing just completely tumbles down, it doesn't domino into any aspect at all.
Hey, come to the couch behind me. They can see. We have our audience. We have our live.
We've got our guests. This is what everybody waits for before they hop on to say hi.
It's true. How you guys doing? How you doing?
What's on the orange shirt? Is that Pikachu?
Good.
He has a pumpkin Pikachu. Stand up on the couch behind us. They can see it.
Oh,
Hey, Catherine, how was school today?
good.
Good? Locke, how was school today?
Great.
Good? What are you eating?
Chips.
Yeah?
Spicy chips.
You like the spicy chips? He likes the hint of lime tortilla chips.
Me too.
They're pretty tasty.
Do you like queso?
He doesn't care for a lot of condiments, but he likes the hint of lime. He calls them spicy. The spicy chips.
See, my daughter, she's if the water's warm, she calls it spicy.
Yeah, our kid. Yeah, so they don't like actual hot spicy food.
Yeah,
but he loves the spicy chips. We go through about a bag and a half of those a week. We go through a lot of spicy chips. Tostitos, you owe me some money.
So we have the weakness for it's Snyder's of Berlin. They make a barbecue chip. We used to, I never called them that. They were just chips to us growing up. But my son, he called them hot chips, and it kind of stuck. So we've called them hot chips for a long time. And man, I'm this fat for a reason. Man, there's some good food.
Oh
man, there's some good food.
I could eat some barbecue chips. That sounds really good.
Yes, indeed. So I was, the good folks out in TV land didn't get to watch me wolfing down my pizza just before while we were doing the show prep.
Yeah.
Today.
Hey.
So Catherine, what did you have for dinner tonight?
I had cereal.
We had canes.
Oh, we had canes.
You forgot.
And
I was a little jealous when she said cereal, and then I got really jealous when she said canes.
Yeah, she's in a cereal kick lately, but no, we had canes tonight. You had canes.
I had canes, and also, I eat so many chip bags.
You eat a lot of bags of chips.
Mm-hmm.
You eat a lot of chips.
Do you eat the cane sauce? Do you guys like the cane sauce?
Yeah, cane sauce is the best.
I agree. What you need to do now, here's your next phase, is you need to go to Red Robin, the burger joint.
Red Robin?
Hey,
they have unlimited French fries. As many French fries as you want.
Bottomless fries.
And you get the campfire sauce that they serve.
Campfire? Is it like barbecue sauce?
It's called campfire sauce, and you dip your fries in the campfire sauce, and my good. It's delicious.
That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. All right, guys, go back up and see Mom. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, you little pains in the...
Okay, that's the kids. So I forget what we were talking about. But
we're talking about avatars.
entities.
Avatars are very important. It's a 50-50 where we're talking about avatars, right?
We should both dress as an avatar from the movie for Halloween.
Hey, I'm doing the arrow right here.
Oh, that'd be funny. You could be Ed. I'll be a blue person with a ponytail that I do unspeakable things.
Whoa. Hey, what you do on your own time is your own business.
Which didn't make any sense. So, look, I'm not going to get into details, but those ponytails were braided. What's happening there? Right? I mean, I'm just saying. That is a different show for a different time.
Nope. Not going there.
Let's get back to business. So,
and we're back. So for the LLC,
yes.
That's the minimum level that you want to go. There are some companies like Tyco International, one of the largest conglomerate companies in the world, is an LLC. Right.
Limited liability. So to just for a CYA, to cover your backside, you want to form a legal entity, preferably an LLC. And as it says right here, I left this not only in my version, but for you as well, LegalZoom. It's quick, It's easy. They send you all the documentations in a nice, neat little booklet that's printed up very clearly. I recommend it. It's going to cost you a little bit more than doing it yourself, but man, it's going to save you a lot of hassle, especially if you don't want to do all. So
if you're in the state of Ohio, I literally filed and literally opened and founded a company last night. Well, the paperwork went in last night. I got the approval this morning.
Yeah.
Before my feet hit the bed, I had the approval for my new business.
Yeah.
In Ohio. It was $99.
Right. So you like doing stuff yourself, and to a degree I do too. For Underdog Plus.
For the general, yes, but for the general people out there, LegalZoom.com. You don't have to, and don't trust your cousin Vinny, who's a lawyer. You just go to LegalZoom, fill out the information. They're going to tell you everything you need, and trust them because that's what they do.
Yep, it's worth. You know what? For Underdog Plus, that's what I did. It's worth every penny. And here's one of the things that I actually like. So you mentioned earlier to me that when am I going to start taking investors in Underdog Plus? Well, one of the things they do when you actually form an LLC with them is they actually provide you blank shares of your company. So, David, hypothetically, if I wanted to sell a fraction of my company to somebody else, I have my printed up, and they look really nice and professional shares that I can actually fill out, and give this to another person, a legal document saying they own 10, 15, 20, 50% of my company. So
5, 10, 9, 15, 25, 25, 25, 25, 50, 25, 59, 25, 59, 30, 35, 35, 35, 35, 9, 25, 25, 25. Oh, now 35, 75. No, not good.
Would have been a terrible auctioneer, but you'd have been a great one.
But I would have been a terrible auctioneer. I'd been like, dude,
bro,
yep, bro, dude, where are we at, dude?
Anyway, so LegalZoom. Next thing you want is a bank account or credit card. Now look, the reason you want a business, the second you form a legal entity with your business, you want a bank account for that business, and also preferably a credit card. Why is that? To keep your finances separate, so you're not spending your personal money that you don't specifically invest in your company for that company.
Right? Money. Okay, you're going to need your business entity.
Yes.
Then you're going to need to get your tax ID, your federal tax ID, state, all these things. You're going to need this to go to the bank.
So when you form like an LLC, you're going to get what's called an EIN number. That's basically your tax ID number. When you have your tax ID number, then you can get a business bank account. You can get a business credit card. And not only is that going to make you,
you're going to want to do it.
It's going to keep your money separate.
If you are making an investment into your account, into your business, you need to write that as a business investment for yourself. So you got to remember, you and your business are two entities. Very important. Yes, it's the same person, but it's two entities. So, and you need to make sure that that's the way it goes, because you can take a loss in one or the other. Or you can take a gain in one or the other, or a loss in both, or a gain in both.
Well,
so it's very important, because the tax man, trust me, he's going to get it right.
Well, and another good reason to keep your money separate with a business bank account and or a business credit card is eventually, no matter what your business is, you will be audited. And when you are audited, you want your business finances completely separate, or as separate as you can get them, from your personal finance. And you need to have that very clear demarcation. No matter if you're buying staples for your business or you're buying a new car for your business, it needs to be very specific for your business and not for you. And you do that with keeping your finances separate. So the second you form a legal entity, whether that's a DBA, an LLC, an S-Corp, what have you, you want your own business bank account and credit card. Super easy to do. I recommend, as soon as you get your EIN number from LegalZoom, stop in your local bank branch, and they have people in the branch who will sit down with you. Even now, after the global plague sniffles of death, there are people who will sit down with you and walk you through the process and tell you exactly what you need to know. That's their job. That's their specific job. So highly recommend that you do as soon as possible.
So just earlier today, I reached out to a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Sires. Now, you and I talked, and we looked at a couple of his videos yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and about his channel. So I've actually reached out to him to see if he'll come on here to be an interview with us
Okay.
about the business of his channel. And we've been watching a lot of them. My wife watched them. She got in there and she was reading a book, and then she would look up from time to time. And literally, this guy just talks about, for those of you who have small children in the room, it's fine. You've probably said worse in front of them. But, he literally just talks about man shit. And,
Fair.
everything from, he gets coffee in there. I know I'm an odd duck. I do not drink coffee. It's not my thing.
You're not.
I'm not a coffee guy. But, he's talking about coffee and all the things there. It's a great channel. Wes, you and I were talking about it a little bit last night on the show prep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've invited him, and we're waiting on a reply. So, and I completely forgot about where this was going. Completely forgot. There was an end game on
bank
this.
Bank accounts, credit cards, from your
licenses and things. So on his channel, he'll talk about tobacco products from time to time.
Sure.
Now, because of that thing, there might be, because of your, and this is the next thing on the list, your permits, your licensing, all these things that you may need to do. So right now, we have permission to use the MFB's audio. They've given us permission to use any song they have. I happen to just absolutely love this Funkin' Up the Neighborhood song. There's a couple other ones. I've listened to all of the ones that I can find, and they're good. Some of them not appropriate for hardcore, but they're really good songs. But you have to have licensing for that, and we're still working on shipping up to Boston. There's some things we got to work up licensing protocols for that. So in your business, you need to take a look at it, because that's the next thing on the roadmap. That's where that came from.
Yep.
Is the next thing on the roadmap is permits, licensing, things of that nature. Now, it could be something as simple as you are setting up a booth at the annual Strawberry Festival in London, Ohio. Hey, if you've never been there, go.
I've never been there.
Well, multiple reasons. It's a wicked awesome car show. Okay, they have a wicked awesome car show there with it.
They've got some strawberries and cars, right?
Strawberries and cars. Okay, it is the largest gathering of Shelby Cobras, the 427 big block, or the 427 Ford engine AC Cobras replicas that everybody. I'm a Corvette guy. I would take one in a heartbeat. The largest gathering in the country, possibly the world. Actually, I think it's the world. Is in London, Ohio, at the Strawberry Festival, and so that's number one. Then you get the car show that's just not those cars. All the other cars are there. Then you get the fair food. Okay, I'm a huge fan. I'm fat. Okay,
I was gonna say I would go for the pie.
Move on from that.
That's just,
So the fat food, and it's strawberry everything you want. Strawberry.
I don't know if you know this right now. Right now is the Circleville Pumpkin Festival. Right now, if you're in Central Ohio, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. It is a big deal.
There's about 500,000 people who are going to
20 some odd years I lived there, I never made it to the Pumpkin Festival one time.
I've been there a couple times. So Circleville is a pretty small town. Pretty small town. They're going to have over 500,000 people per day there this year.
Yeah, it's for those of you in Germany, because as we said that Germany is a huge market for us. That Circleville's about 15-20 minutes ish south of Columbus. So it's not terribly far from a very large city. It's a very small town next to a very large city. And their pumpkin festival is, from all reports I've seen, the pictures, and I've been to Circleville many times. I've just never made it down there for the pumpkin festival.
So, but I'm not sure what that has to do with finances, but I totally agree. Go to the pumpkin festival. Go to the strawberry festival and see the cars.
Well, it had nothing to do with. I'm waiting on the next one. Click on the next one.
So the next thing is actually one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. It sounds kind of boring, but it's near and dear to my heart because I'm putting so much work into this right now for my own business. Obtain the necessary.
So even if you go and you set up at the Strawberry Festival or the Pumpkin Festival, you may be required to have a permit to have your booth. All right,
There
Wes,
you
it's
go.
all on to you now.
It all comes.
I've closed my loop. It's up to you now.
It all comes full circle. So look, if you are selling a product, first of all, no matter what product you're selling, if you have a business, chances are in your state, if you're in the States, you will need a business license to do business in that state. So that's first and foremost. Now, if you're selling, depending on the type of product that you're selling, chances are you will need different permits to be able to sell that product. Here's something that not a lot of people realize, and this is one of the bottlenecks with my type of product. So our first product is a dog treat. Well, in order to sell dog treats, you need to talk to the Department of Agriculture of your state and get a permit to sell that product in your state. In addition, here's what you need to know. Every state in the entire union, every one of the 50 states, has different requirements from their own departments of agriculture. So,
does that also include Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico is not a state, and to my knowledge, you could do almost anything you want in Puerto Rico, and they can't hold me liable for saying that because they're not a state yet. So, at some future date, if they do become a state, don't hold me liable. Whoever is in charge of your attorney general, please don't sue me. But as of 2021, do what you want. Puerto Rico, go crazy. Anyway, so right here what you're seeing on the screen with these different requirements on lines 45, this is part 7. Here, this is what you will download. My version of this same document has every one of the 50 states with the contact information of their departments of agriculture filled out. And what I need to do is, unfortunately, their websites aren't super great. If you've ever had to deal with a government website, they're not super great to begin with. No offense but to the departments of agriculture, but especially the departments of agriculture. They're not tech people necessarily, and this isn't necessarily their top priority. So what I actually am doing is I'm physically calling every state Department of Agriculture and getting the details to get certified to sell in that state. Because here is a big bottleneck with selling dog food or dog treats. When you sell pet food or pet treats, technically that counts as animal.
What's that classified as?
It's classified as animal feed. Like you would think of like cow feed or cattle feed or something like that. It technically counts as animal feed, meaning
like an ADM grain or something like that.
Right. So there are a lot of different regulations that you need to adhere by. So not only the regulations you need to adhere by, possibly kitchen inspections and inspection fees. And one of the things I need to do is submit my packaging with all of my lab testing and certifications to each and every state individually. And some states you need to renew annually. Some are biannually. Some are not at all. Some are quarterly. You need to check in. And this all has to be done manually because there's not a single organization that can cover every state. Maybe that's a business idea, right? But currently that doesn't exist. So it's a very manual process. This is something that I'm dealing with. Unless you're selling animal feed, your process will probably be significantly different. But you do need to obtain the necessary permits or licenses for your state. Are you sending me messages right now while we're streaming? David, is that what's happening right now?
I'm sending you messages. I'm dying over here, dude. Dying over here. You went right past that. You didn't miss a beat. I was just, I had the freaking "That's What She Said" queued up and ready to go, and you just went right on through it.
What did I say that she said?
You were talking about having to submit your package for inspection.
Look. Some packages, look, it's not the size of the package that matters.
Which is why I put it in text form, not.
You could have gigantic packages. You could have teeny tiny little sample packages. It's not the size that matters. It's what you do with it, and that's what they need.
Well, it's the fact that they both need to be inspected,
and they need to be inspected. The big packages and the little packages need to be inspected to make sure they meet the requirements of whoever's in charge. I'll leave it at that.
So I know all the people at home are waiting for this. Puerto Rico. They're finding this riveting. So, Puerto Rico Department of Agriculture, contact phone number 787-722-0871, located at 1309 Fernando Juancos, San Juan, Puerto Rico, 00901-1163.
Who knew?
So, even if he wanted, so in Puerto Rico, where you can literally do whatever you want, West, to sell the Underdog Plus dog bones, would have to reach out to the Department of Agriculture to sell them. And these are the things in your roadmap that you need to look at. So it might seem like something simple, something that you can blow through pretty quickly. No comment needed. Something that you can get through pretty quickly. Some of these things that look like easy, oh, well, yeah, I've got lab testing. Well, now in this scenario, you have to submit that to every single state.
Right. Which is the point of...
And Puerto Rico.
Which is the point of this roadmap. Because, look, on this roadmap, the point of this roadmap is every step needs to be checked off. And you list all of these things here. Because, look, in 6 months after you've done all this stuff, what are the chances you're going to remember every single step that you took? Every single phone number that you called? Every person you contacted? All the details? All the notes? Let's say you're audited later on and somebody says, did you get certified for X, Y, and Z? You can look back at your roadmap and say, oh, yes, I did. Or, oh, that's not on there. Let me check.
Hey, we're good here, here, and here. But Barbara over at XYZ in Puerto Rico, she was having a siesta and said, no bueno.
So
I have no idea whether they speak Spanish in Puerto Rico or not.
They do speak
That's what we're going.
Rico. I believe they also speak English. But the point of the roadmap is to keep track of all of this stuff. And believe it or not, if you're not keeping track of this stuff, you're not going to have a successful business. There's a reason why big businesses have a lot of bureaucracy involved the higher up you go, because they need people to keep track of all this stuff. And if you actually want to grow substantially, you need to keep track of this stuff as well. And even if you're not a business-minded person, we built this roadmap for you. You can download exactly what you're seeing here, and it lays it out for you. All you need to do is plug in your own information. That's it. It's simple. I guarantee you, I promise you, within 6 months, if you are digging into how to build a business and build a business roadmap, somebody will have downloaded this, and they'll be selling this same roadmap or a version of it for at least $200. I promise you. That's what these online people do all the time, and we're giving it to you for free.
So buy it today, $200. But wait, there's more. If you order today and using your credit card, we'll give you a free set of Ginsu knives. They slice, they dice, and yet make pizza in 30 different varieties.
We will not give you Ginsu knives, but if you want to give us Ginsu knives, we'll totally take it. In fact, if you want some free dog treats, go to UnderdogPlus.com. UnderdogPlus.com. And
let's get that up on the screen for them. Let's get that up on the screen for those at home, so they can see the website. And I'm actually going to throw a recommendation out to West that when we get the bags printed up, that we have a barcode on for the donation, basically the donation of a bag of treats for local dog rescue. So basically, you're sitting there, you read it, boom, there's a QR code on the back. You scan the QR code, you hit the button, you say, yep, I want to donate a bag of treats. So you do that, boom, bag of treats goes to the local dog shelter. What do you think, Wes? I think that's a great idea. Of course, it's a great idea. I came up with it.
I think it's a great idea.
That's what I said. It's easier said than done.
It's easy.
We're not talking about day one launch stuff, guys.
It's easier said than done. But look, just go to UnderdogPlus.com.
Most things are.
Go to UnderdogPlus.com. I will send you a free bag, a sample of our treats. All I want is your feedback. That's it.
Did you change my name to Dave and not David? I literally am just now looking at the screen. Have I always been Dave, or have it been David? Did you change it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
drink more of your beer.
Switches. It switches back and forth sometimes. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I was just wondering. I thought it said David before. That's all.
It probably did. So I was doing some work with the platform and.
Well, yeah. And for those of you that don't know, we've actually talked about the software, the computers, and everything that we use. And Ecamm Live is the software that we primarily use, and there's been multiple updates to it lately. And poor West over there has been trying to keep up with all that. So here we go. We got Underdog Bones up on the screen right now.
Yeah, so just go enter your email address, and it will send you a form you fill out. All you got to do is fill out the form, and I will send you a sample of treats. You don't even have to pay for shipping. I will send it to you for free. This is my dog Rio. She is a rescue dog, and she will thank you immensely for getting a free.
She will thank you, but she doesn't give a flying flip for West.
This is true. She only loves my wife. But our treats are it's all organic where we can. They're based from brewer's grains, though, which is sourced from local breweries. But
yep.
Peanut butter, farm fresh eggs, coconut oil, cinnamon, turmeric, and fresh parsley. So minimal ingredients. And the thing you have to remember
turmeric, that's good for like the joints and stuff, right?
Turmeric is one of those new superfoods that everybody's talking about. It's a bioactive ingredient that will not only keep your microbiome in check. It helps with joints. It helps with brain functions. It helps with your limbic system. It has a number of different really beneficial properties to it. The thing you have to remember, though, is this is limited ingredients. You can read the names of every ingredient on here. Here's a challenge to you. Go to your, if you have a dog, go to your pantry right now, get your bag of treats that you feed your dog, and if you can pronounce every word on there, I'll send you a free bag of our treats. Because here's the thing. In most cases, they're going to have preservatives on there. They're going to have all kinds of crazy chemicals in there that you can't even pronounce. Do you want to feed that to your dog, or do you want to feed your dog peanut butter? Right? I mean,
I'm looking here right now to see if I can pull up a list of ingredients for. Old Roy, which is the Walmart brand, corn gluten.
Right. There's no
citric acid as a preservative. Now, it's just called citric acid, but which citric acid they are using is very important. Artificial colors. And fortified with vitamins and minerals. That's great. Chicken byproduct.
Byproduct. You know what that means? You don't want to know what. If you see any kind of byproduct on your food or treats, you don't want that. That is all that's left.
Soybean meal.
The slaughterhouses, the stuff that falls on the floor, they put into a big blender.
I don't even think this does the stuff that. I mean, this is the stuff that you just don't want. And then you've got animal fat on here as well, which I can understand a little bit. I mean, we're talking about dogs. We're talking about animals. So trust me, they spend 23 hours licking their butts. 1 hour eating food and licking West's face. So that's how it goes there. But you got the BHA as a preservative as well, not just the citric acid. So they've got two preservatives in this, and the BHA, which is probably a word that Let me see if I can look that. You know what? It's not worth it tonight. Because I'm not going to be able to say it no matter what. Pronounce that word, but I mean that's a big maker. That's a big maker. I mean, Walmart, they're not what they used to be, but they're still not small potatoes.
I mean, so here's something we went over a few weeks ago. I forget the exact number, so forgive me. The dog food and treat, the dog consumables industry is isn't it like it's like a $5 billion industry, something like that. I forget the exact.
Yeah, we did look at that.
But all of the food and treats on the entire market the majority of them are made up by 7 massive corporations.
Yeah, United States is $2.94 billion.
And the majority of
billion with a B
are made up by 7 massive corporations. And what they'll do is they'll sell in bulk to smaller companies, to smaller stores, for store brands, things like that. And when you're selling when you buy in bulk, you don't necessarily need to list that giant corporation on there, on the packaging. So there are a lot of small folks like me who are just making these things in their home kitchen. But there are a lot fewer and more far between than you would expect. There you go. Right there you go. So
I ran across this. I got to share it.
All right.
The worldwide pet treat market is expected to hit. Take it. So, the U.S. In 2020 was $2.94 billion. So I don't have the current worldwide market for this, but we know it's over $3 billion, right?
$4 or $5. Yeah.
2027. Revised. Okay, they revised this down to account for a decline, but in 2027, the worldwide market. Take a guess.
2020.
I'll drink while 2027. Take a guess. Currently in the U.S., we're at just around $3 billion.
Okay, the world market, not just U.S., but world market in 2027.
2027.
$7 billion.
So we're looking at the growth. Okay.
I'm gonna say 7.
Well, you've got none of those numbers correct. The worldwide projected market for dog treats, $61.2 billion.
There you go. Does it
$61.2 billion worldwide.
And currently, most of what currently exists is made up from 7 massive corporations.
Yep.
Just selling in bulk to store brands, things like that. When you go to Walmart, when you go to Kroger or whatever local grocery store you have, and you buy their store brand, guess what? That store brand is made in the exact same factory as these big brands over here, these big brands over here. And also, when you look at the ingredients and you can't pronounce most of the words on there, that tells you something. Would you want to eat something that has ingredients that you can't pronounce? Maybe in some cases. We just had a conversation with my kids talking about how many chips they eat. But in most cases, you don't want that to be in your dog's diet. Because dogs, look, you can't even feed them grapes or raisins. I mean, they're so delicate. Their systems are so delicate. And if people only knew the kinds of chemicals they're giving to their pets, I mean, their entire perspective would change overnight, guaranteed. But we got to get one more, just a couple minor points left on this roadmap to cover.
Yeah,
we're going to get back.
Almost
there.
Actually, when you start talking about that, I actually started looking at the car manufacturers because
Yeah.
there are, the top 10 car manufacturers are like the car manufacturers.
Right.
I mean, there are some one-offs here. There's some small guys out there who kick out some pretty good products here and there, but they are not the people that you do. Let me put it this way. If you're not in the top 10, you probably don't have their car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple as that. 10 companies.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 10. If anybody gets that reference.
And look, here's the thing. It is in my articles of incorporation that I'm giving 20% of all profits to rescue organizations. Meaning, no matter how big Underdog Plus gets, if we become a multi-billion-dollar organization, 20% of all profits are still dedicated to rescue organizations.
It's very important.
I dare any other massive corporation to have that same dedication written into their articles. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Mars, Nabisco.
Oh, we can talk about
this. You guys may not know this, but Mars, who makes your candy bars, and Nabisco, who makes your Cookie Crisp.
Yeah.
They make dog treats too.
Well, we actually need to do a show on Nabisco, the origins of Nabisco, because their origins are really interesting, and it has a really heavy tie to the origins of Oreo cookies and their relation to the other cookie called Hydrox, the two brothers who own those companies.
Yeah.
It's a soap opera. Like, that needs to be a Netflix show that I would totally watch because I love Oreos.
Yeah. You do that, and then you watch, it's Arctic versus, what's that, everybody has them for their beer can koozies, and they have the coolers and whatnot. What is it? It's Arctic, the lower brand, and then there's the can koozie that everybody's just gaga over.
I haven't used a koozie since high school. I have no idea.
Well, yeah. So I've actually got some pretty cool things in here that for giveaways for people. But I've had people say, "Gee, many Christmas, I can't think of the name of it." But anyway, Arctic's one, and there's another brand of them, and that's much like this. They're brothers, and they have their brands like Oreo and hydroxychloroquine. something.
Hydroxychloroquine. I don't think the Hydrox company would appreciate that reference.
It's Hydrox. I do know the cookies.
The
I've had the
named
cookies.
Hydrox. The cookie is called Hydrox. Hydrox was the original Oreo before Nabisco. I wouldn't say stole it, but they
commercialized, sold it out to the man.
Well, no, they.
But it's
I'm trying to think politically correctly how to say it. So, okay. So I forget the name of the company. The original company that had the Hydrox cookie were two brothers, right? And they had this bakery, and they sold cookies commercially. Well, one of the brothers left, and over the course of different situations, he formed his own company, the National Biscuit Corporation, I think it was called, Nabisco.
A Bicky.
Well, Nabisco looked at the now owner of Nabisco, founder of Nabisco, looked at his brother's top performing cookie and said, "Oh man, look, I could totally do that." So he didn't take Nabisco. Please don't sue me. They looked at the metrics of the Hydrox cookie, which was the original Oreo, and said, "Oh, we could probably do that." So then they made the Oreo cookie in direct competition. Essentially, the exact same cookie as Hydrox is now the Oreo. That's how it happened.
I've never had a Hydrox double stuff, mega stuff, or a most stuff.
No, we're going to do a whole show on Hydrox versus Oreo, and we're going to talk about Nabisco, and I forget the name of the other company, but that tells you how good Nabisco's marketing is. It all comes down to marketing, which leads to sales.
We got to have the quote. Every time I bring that up, we got to have the quote.
What's the quote?
Henry Ford. Quote for cutting marketing.
Yep.
A man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time.
That's right. And that's why nobody knows the name of the company who makes Hydrox cookies, even if you know what a Hydrox cookie is.
I know what a Hydrox cookie is. I have no idea who makes them.
Exactly. Nobody does. It's a mystery. It's
Leaf Brands.
Who?
Leaf Brands.
Leaf Brand.
Jacob Luce was the founder. They've got previous owners. They've been owned by Sunshine Biscuits, which was 1908 to 1996. They got bought by Keebler. Then they got bought by the Kellogg Company 2001 to 2014. And now they're owned. It doesn't say.
Yeah. So
it literally doesn't say.
We will do a whole show on this. It's actually a really interesting story. So stay tuned. We're not going to do it right now, though. We're actually going to wrap up this roadmap because we're so close. I can feel it. We're so close. We're so close to the roadmap.
I don't know what we're going to do. Next week, we're going to have to freaking show prep with original material. I'm like, oh.
I know. It's going to be.
Hey, guys, do you want to recap the roadmap?
Maybe we'll do another algorithm show.
You know what? I honestly, we love to poke fun at the algorithm show. For everybody out there, we love to poke fun at the algorithm show. But it was really good. There was a lot of good data. I would actually like to go back and revisit the algorithm show because I think there was a ton of good material. And I think one of the things that it needs is the involvement of you guys. I think it needs the involvement of the people in the audience talking back with us. So we really need you guys to be interactive with that because that show was probably more important than almost any show we've done.
Well, it really impact everything you do on every digital platform you're on.
Yes. And even if you're not a digital presence, that's how people are finding you. That's how people are coming to you. So we got our buddy Matt Hamlin, who owns Fidelity Mobile Wrapping Solutions or whatever the name of his company is. I know it's Fidelity. I think it's Fidelity Mobile Wrapping Solutions.
I think you're right.
But I've been watching his work.
He does cool.
I've been following it. And damn, this guy is good.
He's really good. When you see him wrap a Lambo, you're like, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a Lambo. He's doing FedEx trucks. He's doing window logos and all these other things. And I'm like, gee, and he did Shannon Black from the Real Life Outdoors. He did the hood and the tailgate of his vehicle, of his truck.
Oh, nice.
And oh my Lord, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, I'm wanting to do some stuff with my car this year. And I might drive down there. I mean, it's a bit of a hoof for me, but I might drive and say, "Hey, man, let's do this," because he does such a good job.
We wrap your Corvette in the Underdog, logo.
The Underdog logos.
Yeah.
Just little Underdog logos all over the place. I would say no to that, but it's a $3,000 to $3,500 investment. I don't know how much we want to put into that, but the idea is, is Matt leveraging his good quality the right way to trigger the algorithm to push?
Right.
I'm gonna go about 25%. He's doing about 25% of what he needs to do. The other 75% he's leaving open.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that could be by design, because let's say somebody like Weston and I got involved and filled that hopper up. Dude, he's not seeing sunlight for 6 years.
Oh,
maybe that's not what he wants.
We could keep people busy with how much work you could do. It could be, and that's the reason why a lot of big companies have full-time people in charge of their social media, because when that's what you do all day, every day, it's a full-time job.
It is,
because these algorithms change every single day. We talked a couple of weeks ago about Instagram
about how they did the hash browns.
The hash browns. And one of those.
Yes, the hash browns. So, we talked how they used to be, 50 hash browns. And now what's the rule of thumb on hashtags?
3 to 5. 3 to 5. They used to recommend 30. You're allowed maximum 30. They used to recommend using all 30. Now they're saying 3 to 5 is all you need. Well, look, when you're used to packing 30 hashtags in there, and now you're saying 3 to 5, and you need to find the most optimized ones for your post, that can be a full-time job doing the analytics on that. So, look, maybe you're right.
Yes.
We should do another algorithm show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need another algorithm show.
Maybe not next week. Maybe next week we'll make another fun one, because we need a fun one after this.
We need a fun one after 6 or 7 weeks. I think we've been doing the roadmap. I mean, it's been every bit of 5 weeks. It's been at least 5 weeks.
Because we kind of go on. I don't know if people know this. We have a tendency to go on tangents, and then go on infected tangents within tangents.
The tanception.
Yes.
He wants to say we, but he's really saying, David, you keep going off on the side.
We. It's the royal we.
It's the royal we.
We are not amused.
I want to wear one of those things, the Queen Anne lace that you're talking about. We are not amused.
I'd like to see you in that. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I make one that fit your neck. Well, you got the manly build. I don't think they actually made
the word you're looking for is fat.
What's that?
I think the word you're looking for was fat.
Well, I said American men. Now, how you take that is how you take it.
Hold tight. I need more beer.
Exactly.
As I'm sitting here going, watch out, I'm fat, and more beer.
Hold on, I gotta finish my 5 liters of beer.
It's getting there.
It's getting lighter over there. Still.
To be honest on this, I did open this last night during our show prep.
You did. You did have almost a liter last night, I think. Because you started saying, I'm just gonna have a little sample. I just want to taste it to make sure it's good. Oh wait, yeah, I'll have another. I'll have another. Yeah,
I did say another a couple times.
A couple times.
Won't lie about that at all. So it was. But it is good. I mean, it's still, regardless of it being imported. And one of the downsides when you get these beers like this is, it's been sitting in a container ship. It's been shipped across the ocean and beat up. And, all this. But I got to tell you, here we go. Now, I've poured probably 5-10 glasses of beer out of this thing.
Yeah.
Between tonight. And look, it's still, look at the head on that thing. It's coming out just perfect. It looks good. And unlike any other pour tap system I've ever seen, this is absolutely no drip.
Not really? Not one
drop. There's not been one drop spilled And the worst, the only thing that gives us anything is when you turn the top of it here. If anybody's ever messed with a gravity keg before, you have to vent because
the pressure from the carbon dioxide.
I've got to have a moment to nerd out here. It's called equal mass displacement. So you got to have the equal amount of mass to the liquid coming out. The air has to be going in. So you've got X amount of liquid going out. You have to have X amount of air going in. Otherwise, you are going to you want it to come in the top. Okay, so you want the air to come in the top and the liquid come out the bottom. Because if you try to make the air and the liquid go in one, all you're going to end up with is a glass of foam because it's going to agitate the liquid coming out. So that's why this but when I crack this, there's a little and that's it. That's where the thing is. And after last week's absolute debacle on Stella Artois, I'll take this over any day.
When you used to go off on those tangents like that, you know what I want to do? I want to make an overlay of the different mathematical symbols coming out of your head, like a beautiful mind kind of thing.
Yes. So
I'm all right. Make one of those for you.
So I mean, it's basic math. So if you guys have ever seen the person who takes the cup, flips it upside down, and puts it on a coaster or something to seal or a plate or something, and they lift it up and the cup doesn't drop. The reason for that is in order for that to come down, there has to be the equal amount of water or fluid displaced by air or another fluid inside of it. So it can't be so. All right, that's it. That's your science lesson.
That's why
I'm not going to
on top. Basically,
I'm not going to go any more nerd than that.
Thank you, Goodwill Hunting. No, you're actually right though.
We're talking 9th grade level stuff, or actually probably 6th grade level stuff here. Mr. Pemberton from Chesapeake High School. I remember everything you ever said. He was a Vietnam vet, by the way. Thank you very much,
Mr. Pemberton. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
So on the very few final notes from the roadmap here. Last thing you got to know: business insurance. You want business insurance because here's the thing. Eventually, doesn't matter what your business is, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna go wrong. You want general liability insurance, and if you have an employee, guess what? Whether it's your wife or some Joe Schmo you hired off the street, you're gonna need to pay workers' compensation insurance. Because eventually something's gonna happen, you're gonna need general liability, and if this guy steps off a ladder and twists his ankle, guess what? You're gonna need to pay workman's comp. Now, whether that's coming out of your pocket or coming out of the pocket of your insurance company, that's up to you. You need insurance for your business. And that, my friends, wraps up the business roadmap.
But wait, there's more.
Uh-oh.
If you're in Central Ohio and you're in need of insurance, there's a company named Combs, C-O-M-B-S, Combs Insurance.
Yeah,
it's Chris Combs.
Columbus, Ohio.
I think his father had it before him.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, Chris Combs. He's the owner. We both know him. He's a very good guy. He's a
excellent guy.
He's not one of those people who's gonna give you this big runaround. He's not nothing against car salesmen. He's not gonna car salesman you and talk you up with all kinds of rigmarole that you're gonna get lost in. He's a straight shooter. I like Chris Combs a lot. Combs Insurance.
My cigars are over there. I was gonna be like, yeah. What you want to do is you want to buy this here 1982 Honda Civic. 1982 Honda Civic. That's a collector's edition.
Well, I had to qualify that because we happen to know some car salespeople.
Yeah, and they smoke cigars. They got the hair slicked back, and they want to sell you a 1982 Honda Civic.
Well, I don't know about the hair slicked back. I don't know.
Oh, that's good stuff. But anyway, the Combs Agency. You can find them on Facebook under the Combs Agency in Central Ohio. I recommend them. I think that Chris is an absolute upstanding gentleman, and I would put my name on it to say, guys.
Yes. If you need business insurance, I highly recommend Chris Combs in Central Ohio, at least. And
if he's not the guy for you,
he'll recommend a guy.
He will find a person that meets your box.
Yes.
We're going to take a moment here. Here we go with a tangent. Business buzz words. One of the worst things I've ever heard any business person say, and you hear it at every group gathering, every business meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to think outside the box.
Yeah, I don't know if I have bandwidth to think outside the box right now. Ping me and
bandwidth. I don't know if that bandwidth. That's a good one. But let me tell you something. This is very important. The most important thing we've said in 5 weeks. Not really, actually. Do not think outside the box.
Well, look, don't outside the box. Think outside the box, but don't think solely outside the box. Everything that's inside the box, it's inside the box for a reason, because it works.
I'll qualify it. See, I'm going to go against what Wes says here, okay. And then once I say what I say, he's going to be like, yes, do that. Do not think outside the box, okay? The box is there for a reason. That's giving you your parameters. If you find something that's, over here, guess what? That freaking belonged in the box. Put it in the box where it belongs.
Well, right. And that's the thing. Look, think outside the box. But look, if you find something outside the box that works, it should have been in the box in the first place.
It should have been in the box.
And here's something else to remember. Just because
it's actually understanding what the freaking box is.
Well, and here's something else you need to remember. Just because something's in the box doesn't mean it belongs in the box.
Yes. So
basically, David, what you're saying is the box is BS.
The box is king.
Look, if there are things outside the box that belong in the box, but there are things in the box that belong outside the box.
But the box is king. The person who is the kerfluffle is the person who decides what's in the box and outside of the box. Well, that's some true out-of-the-box thinking. Actually, no. The fact that you guys have been using mailers to try to promote your digital product, that is absolute insanity. Yes, I get it. Mailers worked if I was a FedEx in the 1990s or the early 2000s who did the Mailbox Plus that had basically the mailboxes that you could rent.
Hang on a second. Hang on. You're telling me that Facebook doesn't send direct mail?
Imagine that.
You're telling me that I refuse to believe it.
It doesn't belong in their box. It's not in their box. But you know what? We could do XYZ over here. Well, that's in their box. That's where it should be. Period.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as thinking outside. So let's say we are trying to promote the concrete pump association, which meets in Las Vegas almost every year. There are some exceptions.
Look, I went to that conference. The concrete pump association of America. Those people know how to party.
I guarantee you that they do. But most importantly, those people are not hammering out on digital media to the Insta-hose or the gramophones. I don't know. Is that a PC term? Insta-hose? I don't know. Whatever. The people who they're not pushing to that because guess what? That's outside of the box thinking. Well, it's outside of the box because it's a garbage idea. It belongs outside the box. It needs to stay outside of the box. Leave it there.
Well, look, here's part of the thing. But here's something people need to remember. We could do a whole show on the box. Let's do a show on the box sometime. Because here's what people need to remember is the box isn't a one-size-fits-all box. Depending on your product, depending on your service, depending on what industry you're in, your box is going to be very drastically different. And you know what the determining factor of that box is, David? I think you know this. The beer that you drink. No, it's your avatar.
I didn't need to say it. Everybody out in TV land should have known it. It was your freaking avatar.
If you're watching the show, you knew it. It's your avatar.
Without a question. So it is so important. And I don't know if you guys have figured this out. And you really should have. But the fact that we hammer so hard on business avatars, should tell you. And also, we've talked quite a bit about business anti-avatars. You need to know who you are not marketing to as well. And you need to understand that when somebody goes, well, you could do this, like, that's my anti-avatar. That's not where I want to put my money. My money's coming from this channel right here. I get it. I might be able to pick up, I might be able to pick up a point or 10 points over here. But in that, I could sacrifice 70 points in my core to do so. That is not who I'm going after. If I catch one in the fray, that's great. That's a bonus. What we call that in the world is called found money.
So based on what you just said, David, would you say that a certain large corporation that we touched on very early in the show might be trying to cast the net in the wrong areas?
I'm not going to say wrong because we don't know what their thoughts are because we're not part of the board. I mean, Disney, you need to assign both of us to your board immediately.
Disney, give us a call. We'll take your call.
Well, yeah, I will take your call. Actually, no, I won't. Bob Iger, if you call me, I will take your call.
Bob Iger, I don't answer anybody's phone call. I don't even answer David's phone call, frankly. And that's the truth. David, I apologize for that right now. Bob Iger, you'll reach my voicemail. I might get back to you. Send me a text. We'll talk.
Yes. You should probably text me first. If you call the phone number that people know, my non-business people know, that phone it's about 1090 whether I'm going to answer that phone or not. If it's my son or my wife, I'll answer the phone.
Yep.
Anybody else, including West, is it's iffy.
But you know what? The last time I actually deliberately called anyone, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I deliberately called anyone.
Wait. All right. Everybody picture me as Sophia from the Golden Girls. Picture it. Sicily, 1912.
You remind. I've always said you remind me of Sophia. Does that make me Dorothy?
Am I your mom?
Does that make me?
Joe just got real weird.
It might make me Rose. I don't think I'm Blanche.
You're so Blanche.
Am I? I'm not slutty enough to be Blanche. Can I say that on Facebook? Facebook, please don't block me. Your mom laughed. That was awesome. There's our target audience. There we are. Thanks, Mom.
There we go. Thanks for coming in here. Yes, indeed. So, there's the big deal, and the thing that we need to leave you guys with. The roadmap is very important.
Yes.
It's one of those things you should be doing. If you're thinking about battering with the idea, if you're sitting there going, what do I need to do? You know what? Go to the Underdog journey, log in. It's behind an email wall. We're not spamming anybody. We don't send any emails at all.
No, we don't.
We use it as a demonstration of, hey, these are the kind of things you can do. So if you wanted to collect and do a email out to the people who have literally searched for your products, again, helps create your avatar and target your avatar. You have that. That's one of the things we're showing you. But you go on there, you download this, you start working your way through it. And one of the biggest things that will help your business is every single Wednesday, get on here and interact with us. Ask us questions. Not just Wednesday. Send it to us otherwise, because let's say you get into a stuck point, we will create an entire show just to help you out.
If you ask this question about the Golden Girls, we're going to answer it. You ask us a question here, we're going to answer it. You ask us a question about business, we will knock that out of the park, and we'll do an entire show on it.
We'll do an entire show on what you think is a 30-second answer.
One of the reasons why there's the
but we'll drink a lot of beer during it too.
One of the reasons why there's the email wall on the download link to get this roadmap is, again, we don't share the emails. We don't email you at all. One of the reasons that's on there is because we're going to create a show specifically on how to build that email wall. So that way, when you start a business and you want to develop an email list, which I promise you, no matter what your product or business is, you want an email list. That is where your money is. We're going to show you step by step how to do it, and not just how to do it for free. Because that email wall that I have on there, I didn't pay a penny for. I just built that for free. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it.
We're giving you as many tools as you can have for free. Yes. Once you get to a certain level and you need somebody, don't get your niece in to do your Facebook page or your Instagram.
If you're actually making revenue enough to hire somebody on, you're not going to want the free tools. But when it's just you and maybe your significant other sitting in your basement or your living room or your kitchen doing this business yourself, you want the free tools. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how to
tools and use them
for free and perform at the same level as the big kids.
You know what? While we're sitting here chit-chatting and I'll be talking, I want you to bring up markettree.com.
All right.
That way we can share the screen. Because, you know, everything should be a drive, a push towards your business. Everything you do in my day-to-day life, I actually do talk about our podcast quite a bit. But I talk about our podcast in a manner that the people that I'm working with, I got 50 some odd companies that I deal with, that, you know, I talk to them about this. I talk about the podcast and I tell them, hey, you're welcome to join. You pick up some tidbits, but it's mainly to keep them engaged and to understand that there are ways that they can build their business that they may not have looked before. Like, I don't think I've ever talked about it. I don't know if I've ever said it, but I literally, my job now is to develop businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. So, you know, I reach out to them and I talk to them and say, hey, come here, get as many free tools as you can. But once you pass that, and it's called an equilibrium. Once you pass the equilibrium of, you know, the value of your time needs to be in your business.
You're right.
I get it. Hiring a company like MarketTree is, you know, it costs money, but it doesn't cost as much as you're going to lose if you try to continue to use it, or you get your niece or nephew or somebody who's really cool at Instagrams.
Right. And, you know,
get MarketTree, bring them in.
But you're right.
That's how you do it.
Hiring the right agency is a big gamble too. You need to know the right agency for you. How many people have we talked to who they'll pay, you know, $35,000, $40,000 and get garbage advice? You know, you and I step in for these private meetings and we're like, what did they do for you? And they'll listen to you like, yeah, but what did they do for you? Well, they promised us.
What did they do?
Yeah, well, that's not what Marketing does. What else did they do for you? And they didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, there's nothing there. And we've looked at some of the stuff, and we've looked at some of the marketing tactics, which, and I'm using tactics so loosely there. I should have picked up a better word.
We need to do a show. Here's our next show, David. Our next show is the difference between tactics and strategy. Marketing.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay.
Let's bring up some good Venn diagrams.
I like it. Yes, let's get it in there. Marketing tactics. And you know what? Let's do. You know what? Let's start with that, because then we can build. And you know what? No. That doesn't need to be the first one. The next show needs to be marketing sales.
Marketing versus sales. That's our next show. Next week, marketing versus sales. That's a big show. That's gonna be a fun one.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, even in marketing, they don't know the difference. Even in sales, they definitely don't know the difference.
They struggle. Yeah. So here's the great thing is you've got the guy over there crushing it at marketing. You got fat guy right here who's okay at sales.
He's okay.
You know,
he does.
I'm okay at sales.
He's okay.
I hold my own. I do my thing. The best salesman out there, and I you know, really am not trying to toot my own horn, are like me, and only in this one instance, okay? Only this one. I got tons of failings, tons of flaws. I get it. But they understand the difference between sales and marketing.
Right.
They understand the power and importance. Mm-hmm. So if I, as a salesman, just go out there and be salesman,
Mm-hmm.
I'm being salesman to everybody, and I used to use the saying, I could knock on the door 5,000 times and have it slammed in my face every day.
Mm-hmm.
And on 5,001, I'm gonna knock on that door with the same smile. Well, that's a salesman's tactic.
Right.
In reality, if I'm utilizing and listening to my marketing group, I'm knocking on 5 doors a day. I'm closing 5 jobs a day. Period.
Right. Look, I've talked to a lot of CMOs, chief marketing officers, C-suite people who don't know the difference, who conflate the two dramatically because there's that much of a blurred line between the two. And kind of deservedly so, but not really if you understand the function of both. So next week is going to be a fun show. Let's do that. Let's plan that out.
That's going to be fun. We're going to do that. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're doing marketing and sales next week. Don't miss it. Just as a follow-up, we will be December 16th, which is a Thursday night. So we will not be having a show on Wednesday, December the 15th. It will be Thursday, December 16th. We will be live from Boston at the Green Dragon on the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. We will be there. We are pushing. We want you guys to come out and see us, not just on the show. We want you to make the trip to Boston.
We want to see you live in Boston.
We want to see you. We want to pack that place for good reason. We're also, I don't want to say the name, we're trying to get a person who runs a historic channel or a history style channel as our interview. We're working on Jeremy Sires for other ones. There's a lot of things in the works with the Underdog journey. We're pushing hard. We're pushing forward. And we're drinking and whiskey. Or wait a minute, what is this? Bourbon? What is this?
Your audio
what do I got here?
For a second, but you're looking at scotch.
We're drinking booze. We're drinking booze. We're having a good time. We're imparting very valuable knowledge to you.
But it's going to be fun. We're going to be in Boston at the Green Dragon. The Green Dragon, the place where the founders were talking about the Boston Tea Party on the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. I still can't believe we're going to be there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be great.
Next week, we're talking about the difference between marketing and sales. And that's going to be a fun show. But in the meantime, I've been West. This guy's been David. We've been here for 2 hours. And we will see you guys next week. In the meantime,
oh, we're going to play it as an outro? Light it up again. All right, you guys can hear me. Wes is on the other side. You guys can't hear Wes because Wes is muted. You can see his video down there. I'm protecting the guy who actually, Uncle Sam right there. I'm protecting him right now. There we go. I texted Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam right here. So I'm going to tell you, now I haven't seen them live. I haven't, but I got to tell you, I want to. The next time I'm up here in New York, the next time I get a chance, I can go to the MFB. I want to go see it. You guys all need to go to the Amazon. I actually bought it today through Amazon. So I bought this through Amazon. What's that? It's okay. That's all right. Mariah Carey called me up and said, "Hey, Dave, can you show us the dance moves?" I was like, "I got this."
And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
have seen the world
I'm a
pristine,
stunt
funk you up in the bushes, funk you down in the trees. Now look around, all the frowns, the yellow, the white, the red, and the brown. And keep in mind, it never costs a dime, 'cause funkin' is free, I remember the time. Now look today, the streets are gray, time to take it back to yesterday. Funkin' in the neighborhood, I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. It was good in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
I gotta tell you, I'd be arrested by this police officer on purpose. Literally looks something just for her to come arrest me. So yeah, the MFB playing the funkin' up in the neighborhood. We will find a way to make this happen.
Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
I don't know what he was doing yet, but I want to do it so get kicked
Cause the
off.
funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt cool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
Let me see if I can get some addiction. What kind of? Let me find out what their songs are. And we'll go. But again,
The first to make sure they hear me. But if the MFC would do it, we would host them at the Green Dragon in Boston on December 16th for a live show inside of the location where they planned the original Boston Tea Party.
Nice. Everybody, it has been fun. We will